Welcome to Anthony, Kansas. This is the county seat of Harper County. And right behind me you can see there's a pretty interesting looking downtown. Driving through, looks like some really cool old historical buildings. So let's take a walk down the downtown area, learn about the history of this small Kansas town of about 2,000 people, and then we'll tour around the rest of the town to see what we can find. Anthony is in Harper County, which is in southern Kansas with Oklahoma to the south. It's basically in the middle of the county. So Harper County has a population of 5,485 at the 2020 census, and that's down from a high of over 14,000 recorded over 100 years ago. So pretty interesting, they've lost more than half of the population in this county. So Kansas was a state in 1861. This has an interesting kind of origin story here with the county. So the legislature created Harper County in 1867, and the area, though, was sparsely settled for many, many years. So one of the most notorious frauds in Kansas history occurred when county organizers used the fictitious city of Bluff City with fictitious residents as well and records to create a paper county government, paper in quotation marks. State investigators determined the county essentially had no legitimate population, and the organization was declared invalid. The county was officially and legally organized in 1878, after there was actually some people here. The Anthony town site was then laid out in 1878 during the legal reorganization of Harper County. The name Anthony comes from George T. Anthony, who served as Kansas governor from 1877 to 1879. Obviously, that's the time when they were trying to get this county organized, so that played a role in the county's reorganization, and they named it after him. So since the fraudulent county seat of Bluff City did not actually exist, Anthony was designated the temporary county seat. Anthony and nearby Harper City competed to become the permanent county seat, and the fraud didn't end there. So nearly 3,000 ballots were counted, despite there being only 800 legal voters in the county. Despite widespread allegations of election fraud, Anthony ultimately prevailed and remained the county seat. So then after that all got settled, wheat farming, cattle ranching, and related businesses drove the town's growth. In 1889, many residents actually left Anthony to claim land in Oklahoma Territory, temporarily slowing the town's growth. By the 1890s, the city became an important railroad hub, serving south-central Kansas. As many as 5 railroad lines eventually served Anthony, making it one of the region's transportation centers. 1907, voters approved construction of a permanent courthouse here. We'll see later in the video, effectively ending decades of controversy over the county seat. Rail traffic declined later in the 20th century, and the last railroad service disappeared by around the year 2000. On the official Anthony website, it says, Anthony is known for agriculture, excellent schools, medical facilities, assisted living facility, outdoor recreation, quality of life, and community services. Anthony offers the best of small-town values and strives to provide a high quality of life for its citizens. So looking at the population figures, you can see how it kind of has been steady. It peaked in 1930 at 2,947, has dropped off, you could say a steady decline down to 2,108, but hasn't had any dramatic drops. Being the county seat certainly helps, and as you can see walking through the downtown, there's businesses, and on a Thursday here there seems to be plenty of traffic up and down the road. So nice little downtown of Anthony. Let's check out the rest of the town. The Anthony Railroad Depot here serves as the home for the historical museum of the town and basically the county. You can see some agricultural equipment kind of before we go inside the museum. I always love these smaller town museums because they just have things everywhere and you never know what you're going to find. I love an old basketball poster like that when you would kind of keep track of the games, or they would have all the schedule game by game. It was a point of pride of the community. There's a great old picture of the downtown area and a chime from the radio station. If you are aware, it'd be like a chime every hour or something like that. Old television equipment, radio equipment. So Roosevelt came here when he was running for president, and there's a picture of him right there in front of the depot. Now that's a different depot. This one we're in now was built to replace that one. I think this one was built in maybe the 1920s. So once you get back, there is railroad history, but there's all kinds of history of the town and other places like I mentioned. The fire department was a point of pride here. They would have different competitions with other area fire departments, and it was said that Anthony would generally come out on top. There's a picture of the old Frisco depot. A lot of interesting little railroad booklets. Day trips to Kansas depots. That'd be cool. Sounds like a great video idea. Lots of artwork from local artists, and the pirate there's because the high school was nicknamed the Pirates. And if you're interested in typewriter history, there's a bunch of it here as well. Then a dentist chair back in the corner. I always like pictures, or I guess you call it a map like this, of the state and origins of the names of all the counties. It's always kind of an interesting thing to check out. You can see kind of going through different parts of the depot here, and it would be interesting to have seen it in its day when it was being used for the railroad. In this section, you can see kind of how this part that we're in has been built to house some of the artifacts here. We can see the railroad on the right, so the train probably came right through here where we're looking with the camera. But there's military history and archives here now. And Anthony had a racetrack that they raced horses and dogs. They maybe had some car races as well. So there's a cool section about that, and there's some photos there, some horse racing in Anthony. And then this is the end of the museum, kind of the last room, has some of the bigger equipment. A lot of farming equipment, and then some old transportation. I'd just like to ride that through the prairie. And then one last thing, the two-headed calf. That's actually a real thing. They were stillborn, and there's some proof right here. There's an actual photo of them right after they were born. And here is the courthouse for Harper County, and mentioned the controversy surrounding the county and Anthony becoming the county seat, I just want to go in and show you what a typical small county courthouse might look like on the inside. So several floors and just working offices here of different people who would be county workers. And then there's the courtroom over there. It was not open, so I was not able to peek in. But you just kind of go up through the different floors, and nothing too fancy. It's not like a state capitol or anything like that, but I thought it was interesting to go in and check it out. Well, that's our tour of Anthony, Kansas. Pretty cool little town. Obviously got the great courthouse behind me, got a great downtown, has a history museum in the old depot, has a little airport over here. So kind of got everything you'd want from a small town. You're about an hour away from a bigger city like Wichita, and definitely a pleasure to visit. I would definitely recommend coming down and checking things out. Usually I'm out on a weekend exploring towns like this, and today this is actually a Thursday, so you see it a little bit more active with some cars and some businesses open and people around the downtown area. So that's always good to see that there's a little bit of life in these small Kansas towns, and hopefully it'll stay that way for a long time. Anthony's got a plethora of old school playground equipment, including this guy. It's a little bit of a hybrid wooden and metal. Pretty cool. Looks like it might be heavier. All kinds of colors. That spins really well. The paint is chipped, which isn't the worst thing. Gives a little character. Spins really well. I haven't seen many combinations like that with the metal and the wood. And that's really, really good. We're gonna give it 8.2. And this thing will slow down. Oh, and now we're in the Memorial Park, and look at that. There's one. We got another one over here. 3 death go rounds in Anthony. That first one was really good. This is another kind of hybrid. Not as good, but not terrible. Okay, 7.3. 1 to go. This is one that obviously you can have party on. Little bent up. Oh, it's gonna sway. Pretty good though. You gotta give it points for size. Spins pretty well. I still like the very first one the best, but this one's kind of right in the middle between the three. 7.7.